Hi, I'm Gabriel and this is Learning English Path. And in this lesson, I'm going to teach you the difference between the past perfect simple and the past perfect continuous. All right, past perfect simple versus past perfect continuous. And we might even talk a little bit about how it's different to past simple tense. All right, so let's get into this. Past perfect simple is used to talk about either one, something that was already completed at a specific point in the past, or two, the duration of a state that existed at a specific point in the past. So what does this mean? So we're talking about two different times in the past, right? Remember, past simple is when you're talking about one thing that happened in the past. But when we use past perfect simple, we're talking about the relationship between two different times in the past. So, for example, I had eaten dinner at 8 p.m. yesterday. So, we're using dinner and 8 p.m., right? Let's have a look at this little timeline. So, this is now in the middle of the timeline, but we're talking about yesterday, right? We're talking about 8 p.m. last night, 8 p.m. yesterday, and we're talking about dinner. And the sentence is, I had eaten dinner at 8 p.m. yesterday. So it was already finished. You see, dinner was completed before 8 p.m. yesterday. You're talking about dinner and 8 p.m. That's why we're using the past perfect simple. We want to express which one was done first. So the structure here is subject plus had plus past participle. Remember, a past participle is a word like eaten, all right? So eat is present tense, ate is past tense, and eaten is past participle. Eat, ate, eaten. And we would usually use the adverb already. So I had already eaten dinner at 8 p.m. yesterday. Or I had eaten dinner already at 8 p.m. yesterday. This is really to get the point across, to emphasize it, right? To emphasize that we're talking about two different times. I had already eaten dinner yesterday at 8 p.m. You could also say, you could also talk about the duration of a state that existed at a specific point in the past. So I had already been president for 5 years by then, or I had already worked there for 5 years by then, right? By then means by that point in time. Or I had already been president since 1987. So if you're still talking about 2 points in the past. You're talking from the perspective of a point maybe in, let's say, 1992. And we say this person had already been president for 5 years. I had already been president since 1987. So that's another way to say it. And we're talking about two different points in the past and relating them to one another. If you want to turn it into a negative, then you wouldn't use already, you would use the word yet. So I hadn't yet eaten dinner by 8 p.m. yesterday. Okay, I hadn't yet eaten. And that's used to talk about something that was not yet completed at a specific point in the past. So it's still two events in the past, still two times, right? It was dinner and 8 p.m. But in this case, dinner came after 8 p.m. So from the perspective of 8 p.m., it had not happened yet. And the structure here is subject plus had not yet plus past participle. All right, let's look at the past perfect continuous. Now, this is used to talk about either one, something that had already started at a point in the past but was not yet complete at that time, or two, a habit or common occurrence at the time specified. For example, I had been eating dinner at 8 p.m. yesterday. So it's used to talk about something that had already started, right? The eating had already begun. However, it's much more common to use the past continuous if you don't offer more information about how long you had been eating dinner for. So you would usually say, I was eating dinner at 8 p.m. yesterday, right? That's better, in fact. So that's where the past continuous tense comes in. But if you want to say how long you had been eating for, if you want to talk about the duration, that is where past perfect continuous is very useful. So I had already been eating dinner for 30 minutes by 8 p.m. yesterday. All right, so we're talking about the duration and we're saying that it had not completed yet. Here's a timeline. So in this instance, you see there's an extra line. Dinner was still being eaten, and we don't know when it finished, but we know that at 8 p.m., the person had been eating for 30 minutes already. So it began at 7:30 p.m. You could also say, I had been exercising every day just before Christmas. So this is used to talk about a habit or a common occurrence at the time specified. So Christmas is in the past, and the exercising every day is a past habit. And you want to connect the two and talk about the relationship between these two different points in time. So the habit and the exact time, Christmas. So that's how you would say it, using the past perfect continuous. So the subject, the structure would be the subject plus had been plus continuous verb. All right. If you want a negative, then you would say it like this. I hadn't been exercising before spring. So that's used to talk about something that had not started at a specific point in the past yet, right? I hadn't been exercising before spring, but after spring, I was exercising, you can say, right? So the structure would be subject plus had not been plus continuous verb. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you click that bell so that you know when I publish a new free lesson here on YouTube. And if you want to learn English with songs, then don't forget to click the link in the description to get my free PDF guide to 101 songs to learn English. I have hundreds of exercises for you to study English, English grammar, English vocabulary, English idioms, practice your English listening, and even your speaking while listening to the very best songs to study English with. All right. And when you get it, then you also get my weekly email with 5 words of the week, where I teach you another 5 words every single week so that you continue to take your English language learning to that next level. All right, my friend, I'm Gabriel Wallace. Keep learning and keep going.